Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2021 Strong Start, Healthy Start Virtual Fatherhood Conference. Here at Ingham County Health Department, we're excited and thrilled to be with you today. We have such a dynamic lineup for you today with some outstanding keynote speakers. Myself, Quentin Baptiste, I am the fatherhood facilitator for Strong Start, Healthy Start program here at the Ingham County Health Department in Lansing, Michigan. Here within the Maternal Child Health Division, which includes Strong Start, Healthy Start program, we focus on enhancing the health of African American and Hispanic families and improve the birth outcomes in Ingham County. Through family support, parent coaching, education, and case management, Strong Start, Healthy Start provides services which includes home visiting for expectant and parenting moms and dads with a child up to 18 months. As a component of Strong Start, Healthy Start, we have a fatherhood program that its sole purpose is to engage fathers and men with the education, community resources, and the tools to be successful fathers in the home. Now, today's conference, we're going to focus on engaging, we're going to educate, we're going to empower, and encourage with a variety of healthy topics and discussions for dads, families, and people who work with dads. So without further ado, I want to thank you, mothers and fathers and community partners who register for the conference. You will be receiving an e-gift card as a token of appreciation. The top 4 participants throughout the conference might get a little higher gift card depending on your participation. So please be on the lookout afterwards. Please take our poll afterwards. We're excited that you guys are here. We really appreciate your support. And I would like to introduce a phenomenal woman who is the director of the Maternal Child Health Division at Ingham County Health Department, Ms. Sally Meyer.
Thank you, Quentin. I'm so happy to be here today with all of you. Although the Maternal and Child Health Division has 4 home visiting programs, only Strong Start, Healthy Start has a fatherhood component as a part of its model. So that really enables us to engage with fathers as we work on decreasing maternal and infant mortality, as well as enhancing the health of African American and Hispanic Latinx families in Ingham County. I want to thank the Strong Start, Healthy Start staff, the team, for their work in developing this conference, as well as the Michigan Public Health Institute for their conference support, and also all of you for attending. I really hope that you'll find the sessions to be valuable and that you'll find information that you can take with you that you can use. So thank you so much for participating.
Thank you, Sally. I really appreciate you for taking the time out to come and help out with the conference. I really appreciate your leadership and support. Without further ado, we're going to get right into it. We have such a dynamic lineup, fantastic guest speakers. Who I'm going to bring up right now. He is from Grand Rapids with the Strong Beginning Healthy Start program. His name is At Norris. People call him Bo, and he's going to talk about some phenomenal information about fatherhood. Bo, go ahead and take it away.
Good morning, all, and I hope that you can all hear me today. Welcome to our presentation. And when I was invited to speak today, I was excited to see that the topic of today's presentation was reflections of dad, or reflections of fatherhood. And we have a concept that we talk a lot about during our presentations, during our communications, during our engagements with our fathers, families, and their children. And we're going to talk about that today, but a little bit about me. I'm At Norris Bo Torres, as was previously stated, at the Bo Boricua, a native of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, to be exact. lifelong resident of the state of Michigan, growing up in Battle Creek, Michigan, attending Michigan State University and Wayne State Universities down in Detroit, an educator in the city of Detroit, community organizer statewide, and a person who loves the concept of working for an organization that begins at zero, that begins with fathers, mothers, and their children up to 18 months. So the Strong Beginnings Healthy Start project is one of 101 projects across the country that engages with fathers, families, and the lives of those families, so we can create and remove barriers to social determinants of health, creating bridges to success along the way. So the Strong Fathers Fuertes initiative was started in 2011 with generous funding from the Kellogg Foundation. But now let's talk about reflections of fatherhood. And in Lakesh Alakin, the concept of hunikil is the Mayan definition of a human being or a vibrant being. Each of us have those concepts within us that become part of the broader world. So those vibrations of the universe, those issues and those skills that we all have, they come together to be able to really develop a family setting. In Lakesh is the reflection of the self. And this image really creates a concept of the circle of life, right? From our birth to our growth, to our inevitable deaths, to our spirits going into whatever manifestation of the other world that we choose to create. Always looking forward, always looking up, acknowledging the duality of man, that there are light sides, that there are dark sides, but we are reflections of ourselves. So Luis Valdez, an educator, created a poem that speaks to Lakesh and the concepts that our indigenous community members created. So the poem in itself says, "Tú eres mi otro yo." You are my other me. Si te hago daño a ti, if I do harm to you, me hago daño a mí mismo. I do harm to myself. Si te amo y respeto, if I love and respect you, me amo y respeto yo. I love and respect myself. And when we're looking at the reflections of ourselves, of who we are, and what it is that we bring to our families, ourselves, the concepts of community, the things that we faced over the last year with the pandemic, we understand that the concepts of love, the concepts of respect, the concepts of harm have been elevated to a level that we cannot overlook. Even today, as the Delta variant raises the concerns for another wave, yet another time that we have been stressed and that we have been pushed, how do we really respect each other? How do we really engage in that reflection of fatherhood, of being a father figure, of being an educator in our communities? And how? How do we understand these concepts? How does the survival as a father reflect what we have been through in this past year? How do we really engage in saying what social determinants have been engaged, what haven't been engaged? How does housing security, how does workforce security, how does food insecurity affect our lives? What have we seen? How have we grown? How have we changed? And what are the concepts that as we look at our children, our families, how does that father perspective in that reflective state give us a better, newer tomorrow? We look at our why. And I chose this image because we go off into the sunset sometimes believing that if we just do enough, if we just find a way, we can overcome any obstacles that may be there in our way. We need to position ourselves to really look at the full self of who we are, not being the perfect father, knowing and understanding that styles change over time. We meet fathers where they're at. We meet fathers with the concepts that they have inherently. We meet fathers in a way that we build that relationship between them, their children, their romantic partner, or maybe a co-parenting partner that may not be in that romantic way. What atmosphere is in the home? How do we make sure that we address the reflective state that we're in right now, understanding that everyone is under stress, understanding that everyone is figuring things out in a way that hasn't been seen in 100 years, and with everything else that's going on, social upheaval, climate change, and occurrences in climate that we haven't seen. as the electricity goes. Some of our neighbors currently right now in the cities of Detroit and the cities of Grand Rapids and the cities of Lansing, they don't have electricity. So how do we make sure that we understand that atmosphere in the home so that they can truly be reflected in these times? How do we create a dialogue of understanding, a sense of fatherhood and family? That the joy that we bring into that home, the issues that we see are there to be encouraging for those fathers. So what do we know? We know that when a father is not involved in a child's life, 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. We know that 90% of homelessness and runaway children are from fatherless homes. That 85% of children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. And we know that the father factor plays a huge part when children are twice as likely to drop out of school. Children who see themselves reflected in that fatherhood role are more likely to be successful over time than those that do not see themselves reflected in that way. But we are in Lakesh. We cannot choose to live the way of life as a father without acknowledging that. Being a father figure, we must embody this. We must see those reflections. We must see that the young people that we choose to align ourselves with, whether it's as a mentor, as a biological father, as a stepfather, in a mixed family, those children, those families are going to reflect. As I look back anecdotally at my young godchildren, my nephews, they say the things that I say. They do the things that I do. They walk the way that we walk. And at times when you step back and you look around yourselves, you see them always watching, always engaging, always being curious and inquisitive, making sure that they will represent who we are. So how do we make sure that all of those fathers are engaged in a way that's going to be productive and positive? Not only is in Lakesh a tradition that we look at as an example, but we see Namaste. Namaste for Buddhists is embodied in the lotus, embodied in the family. And that's why the image to the left side of the screen today is such an important one. We see that the exalted state of the human, that vibration that we talked about within Lakesh, we hold ourselves high. We are rooted in the world experience, understanding that those are the ways that our children and our fatherhood relationships are expressed. We also see it in the anchor. The anchor was something that we chose as the Healthy Kent Fatherhood Coalition to represent who it is and what it is that we do on the daily, how it is that we hold our children. So the hands at the top of the anchor, holding a child's feet for the first time, making sure that that engagement, that reflection is seen from those first moments of life and even from before that time. Anchor has always played the role of safety, the role of hope, the role of the spiritual, the masculinity, safety, security, and confidence. Those are the things that we reflect. Those are the things that we want to showcase. We want to showcase true masculinity in care, in hope, in the way that we really are engaged, not in the toxic ways that have been expressed, holding in our emotions, making the expressive not that expressive, not really sharing what it is that we have as those cornerstones to the family home. So how do we build community? How do we make sure that these mirrors into society are spaces that are created for dialogue? We have to be authentic. We have to be intentional in ways that are going to make it so that when we experience new ways of thinking, we can engage in conversation to make ourselves vulnerable. We have to work to make those atmospheres, those in-home experiences through home visiting, the best that they can be. Creating partnerships that are going to establish community relationships, supporting each other in ways that beyond the 18 months that a father may be engaged with a program like our own, that they can come back and they can reach out to us, that we influence the lives beyond the time that we have with them. We need to develop community relationships that are going to establish that trust that we spoke about earlier, so that as those fathers that we engage with in all of our programmatic offerings, they reflect who we are. They reflect us. And we must keep that in mind as well. Because as we speak of in Lakesh for the family home, we speak of in Lakesh in our relationships, in our enduring partnerships. Through the years that we have worked with fathers, we have created those relationships to be strong, to be encouraging, and to be honest and authentic. Can we believe? Richard Slacker said that family may be the best medicine for us right now. Now that if you can hug your 18 months granddaughter in person, you can read to her on FaceTime. You can engage. You can send your adult kids snail mail. You can share lives with them from a distance. Making sure that coping during this time is something that we do. So as we look at technology, even this morning, as we're having issues with technology and logging on and making sure that we're connected, how are we reflecting ourselves and making sure that we utilize these times to better reflect who it is that we are? We always use hope and the support of the family. We have seen that in the same article that Mr. Stachter wrote, that spouses and partners are critical to the well-being, not only in a romantic way, but in a way of sharing the experiences. Relationships that have those connections have benefited during this time of COVID. We've learned to be grateful. We've learned to look at positivity as a way to engage with each other and not to put stress on each other. We keep in touch with loved ones. We see that generationally, the in Lakesh, namaste, the anchor mentality is gonna make it so that we can make it through this COVID time. We model those feelings, we manage those feelings, and we make sure that as we engage our children and as we engage our partners, they are able to reflect how we walk through this current time frame. Another area and another reflection of this time is by Rumi, the mirror. We are the mirror as well as the face in it. We are the tasting of taste of eternity this minute. We are pain and what cures pain. We are the sweet cold water and the jar that pours. The soul of the world, no life, no world remains. No beautiful woman or men lounging. Only this ancient love circling the holy black stone of nothing. Where the lover is loved, the horizon and everything within it. We are the mirror into the lives of our children and into our families. And this comes from Rumi. Rumi was a Sufi mystic. And in that tradition, the poet urges us to be that mirror, to engage. And we remember, you have no idea how hard I've looked for a gift to bring you. Nothing seemed right. But the point of bringing gold to the gold mine or water to the ocean, everything I came up with was like taking spices to the Orient. It's no good giving my heart and soul because you already have these. So I brought you a mirror. Look at yourself and remember me. And today, as we listen to our speakers, as we engage in conversations, as we make sure that we create community, let's bring those gifts of self into the spaces that we communicate in. Let's make sure that the gifts that we bring are reflections of the conversations, of the images that we've seen, of the knowledge that we have. One way that we choose to speak about our program participants is we walk alongside those men. We walk alongside them to make sure that we are not helping, that we are not giving a hand, but we are walking side by side because we learn just as much from them, their experiences, as they may learn from us in ours. The love of you. We focus a lot on love. How do we reflect on that? I'm going to play a small video today, and this is My Father's House. It's Ben Harper's rendition of a Bruce Springsteen song, and I really hope that you all can hear this today. So here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Harper.
Last night I dreamed that I was a child out where the pines grow wild and tall. I was trying to make it home through the forest before darkness falls. I awoke and I imagined all those things that had pulled us apart will never again, sir, tear us from each other's hearts. I got dressed and to that house I did ride. From out on the road, I could see those windows shining at light. My father's house shines hard and bright, shines like a beacon, calling me in the night, calling and calling, so cold and alone, shining across the dark highway where our sins, they lie unatoned.
So taking a moment, we see the reflection of a story between a father and their son, and how the mistakes that we made in the past, that duality of in Lakesh, that spirit of coming back home and reflecting on what it is, not letting anything in the future tear those men apart. When I first heard this song, and anyone who knows me knows that I'm a fan of all kinds of music, but it spoke to the work that we do as a collective here in Michigan, across the country, all 101 different National Healthy Start projects, to really reflect on that and say, as we walk back into our Father's houses, whether they be in the mind, the soul, and the heart, how do we really reflect and share those moments and go back and forgive and engage in ways that will make us that vulnerable piece to this system that we're trying to make better. So when Bruce Springsteen was asked why he wrote this song, what was the meaning behind this song, he had a habit of driving past the house where he grew up in, sometimes late at night, going back there for years, wondering, what am I doing? So he saw a doctor. The mental health components that we see amplified so much during this time, driving past this whole house. What are we doing? What am I doing? I want to tell you what you think you're doing. That's what I'm paying for you. The doctor told him, something bad happened and you're going back and thinking you can make it right again. Something went wrong and you keep going back to see if you can fix it or somehow make it right. And he replied and said, that's what I'm doing. And the doctor told him, you can't. In those reflections, in those memories, we understand that the mistakes that are made, we must address. Seeking mental health is something that we must have as a part of our engaging strategies, part of those reflecting pieces. We ourselves can have conversations, but making sure that we're able to give those skills, to be able to give those reflective points so that years later, we're not going back and reflecting on those issues that may have happened in the past. Sean Harrington from the Washington Post wrote, in our family, there was no room to be a shoeless cobbler's son. My 4 siblings and I knew how to remember. That sense of memory, that sense of reflection, going back to those homes and being able to celebrate every birthday, every holiday with the family, things that we can't do currently, things that have been taken from us for a year, year and a half, seeing those grandparents but being able to be reflective, to be able to use technology, to be able to use these mirrors that we have, to be able to engage in a way that'll make great memories, that we're not reflecting back on the bad images from the past time. We must have our values set so that when we talk about being and becoming in Lakesh, when we talk about namaste, when we reflect and we become the mirrors that Rumi speaks of, we see that clarity around the values. And while others may have conflicts with our values, we must hold fast and we must say our values are what makes us and what will make the generations to come. So we must engage. Engaging in positive fatherhood involvement will lead to great academic success, positive behavior, fewer problems, better self-esteem for our children. Spending that quality time, making sure that as we are those mirrors, we spend that time together, that we must engage in a way that's going to create emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, academic well-being. And we must be the heroes that we see so much. There's a reason why Marvel and DC have become the great visions for theaters and for society as a whole, right? We see ourselves as Thor, as the god of lightning. We see ourselves as that intelligent Hulk that can be both an intelligent man and be a force and a strong presence in society. We see the Tony Starks of the world who use humor and engage with society in a way that's going to better it. Always making sure that as we play and as we engage in heroic play, we are building the self-efficacy of our children. As we reflect on the things that work for us in our generations, we make sure that they grow and they engage in ways that are going to also be heroic but meaningful to society. Another quote from Rumi: when the mirror of the heart becomes pure and clear, impressions of the other world will become manifest. The images and the image makers will become visible like the carpet and the carpet spreader. So for today, I hope that what we've talked about this morning and the emotions that we've felt, the music that will ring in our heads hopefully for a while in those words, my Father's house, so bright and strong, shines like a beacon into the night. The reflections that we see in those lights and in our lives, in our minds, in our spirits, that we can move forward and we can engage in ways that are going to be productive today, that we bring our mirrors, that we reflect on what it is that we see, that we hear, and that we build community around the great work that must continue, that will continue, that we engage in always bringing our mirrors so that we can share. And we can share that love, we can share our knowledge. And thank you for allowing me to share these moments with you this morning.
All right, thank you, Bo. That was such a phenomenal speech. Love the way you tied in the music and to really reinforce what it means to be a father, what fatherhood means, and what our programs as a nation, what we do in Michigan, what we do in Ohio, what we do in all these different places as fatherhood, as leaders, to help engage fathers and help engage mothers to continue to be a family as one. And that was so phenomenal. I appreciate your time and embracing us with your speech, and so phenomenal. You guys just heard it from Bo. Check him out, reach out to him. His program, he's at Strong Beginning Healthy Start program in Grand Rapids. Is that right, Bo?
That is correct. There's a team of us, so it's not just myself. I want to really make sure that uplifting William Barres, who is our coordinator here in the program, Maximiliano Velasco, who you're going to be hearing from later on today, and a great young part of our program, bringing a lot of innovation. He's our community health worker, just really working out in the community, but making sure that we're impactful in ways that will support and engage with our expanded team on the maternal side. So
yes. Thank you so much, Bo. At this time, we're going to take we ended a little bit early, so we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back on for you guys to join the wonderful Voices panel right now. So we're going to start the Voices panel at 9:50 a.m. So please go ahead and click on the Voices panel session at 9:50 a.m. and we're going to see you there. So we're going to take a short break, okay? See you guys then. Thanks, Bo.